Welcome everyone. Happy Friday. I'm the Grace Strega and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Friday, October 4th, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread. First two cards we are starting our day off with today are Four of Swords in its upright in combination with Six of Cups in its reversal. There's a lot of, I want to describe this energy right now. This energy that we're experiencing post-eclipse right now, I feel like the best way we can describe this, it's a lot of path clearing. It's a lot of path clearing. And one of the things that we recognize when we're going through path clearing is we're identifying what feels like it is energetically productive versus what feels like an energetic blocker. And one of the things that we see that is happening right now, and I need to stress this, because while this energy right now may feel heavy, it also feels like it is revelatory. Because in the ability to identify and recognize a blockage gives you the opportunity of finding a way to navigate through it or go around it or tackle the issue to a certain extent. So we see even now that this is heavy work, but this is positive. This is productive. This is getting to the heart of problems. And when we get to the heart of problems, it is an energetic gift because it allows us to be able to take new approaches in finding solutions. So even now, recognizing the hurdles, potentially as it relates to energetic connections, you know, this is some heavy stuff here. This really is some heavy stuff, but it's also very important. Now, for masculine and feminine energy deep within divine union, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. This could be a lot of work in unpacking what those issues or circumstances are wherein you have unhealed karmic energy around you. And this might, I keep seeing here that one of the reasons that these approaches are able to be taken right now is because, and this is how the energy deep within divine union right now is reading very similarly to the energy in separation. That ability of being able to turn one's attention on what requires healing is specifically happening for the energy deep within divine union as a result of the energetic piece that is navigated and created within the union itself. We talked a lot about the last few days, the idea of like the relationship. You know, when you think about that sense of a relationship being a ship, like literally something that you move forward within. We see even now that a lot of that energy deep within divine union, they're standing on the relationship, right? That's giving them a different perspective. So we see even now that ability of healing with counterpart, it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? Because this isn't the energy that feels like they pass along that knowledge of healing between them and then they just leave it there. This is the energy that then takes that energetic approach and tries to apply it towards the areas around them wherein they're feeling that same level and degree of discomforture. And we saw even now that, you know, one of the things that was so triggering right now in relationality to some of the circumstances surrounding the energy deep within divine union right now potentially has to be the fact that a lot of that energy that you're experiencing that right now requires some heightened level of degree of energetic support, if you will. Navigating those spaces with compassion, having that experience, and I see even now, like a lot of that energy working or facilitating that point of giving advice, giving insight, but also potentially like really, I want to say, working even with counterpart to get to the bottom of understanding why there may still be some kind of energetic disharmony surrounding certain energetic connections. Like this is the energy that is able to do that work because they're receiving or they're getting some kind of insight in relationality to a new perspective. Now for the energy in separation right now, we're seeing a lot of that same work that's being implemented here. Specifically and particularly because, as I mentioned, I see even now that there's a lot of energy in separation. I can almost hear you guys saying, I'm not invested in relationships right now. I would not be surprised if there's not a lot of energy right now in separation that says to me, I could not care less about relationship right now. Specifically because this is the energy that feels like they have their hands full navigating the unhealed karmic connections around them right now, right? This is a lot of that unpacking. This could be a lot of energy right now in separation, coming into that space of trying to assist or trying to help those around them right now. Like I almost see a lot of this energy in separation saying, I've got bigger problems right now than to worry about partnership. But even in this modality, we see that something in separation is being healing, because that ability of taking that, like having that approach, being able to look at something and say, I could take it or leave it. If these are situations where someone's trying to come back, or there are situations here where someone's trying to restore something, this is creating a different perspective, right? Because I just keep seeing even now that a big shift that's happening for the energy in separation is that identification factor of saying, either that sense of solitude, the feeling of comfortability that one builds in feeling secure about yourself. When you're secure about yourself, you look towards partnership from a take it or leave it approach, because you recognize and identify that it's better to be within your own energy than in an energetic connection that feels like it's not in alignment with you. Right? Like this is the energy that's not necessarily in that space of seeking a connection right now, because what's happening is the comfortability of being within your own skin, of working into your own healing, of coming into that space of truly enjoying one's own self and one's own frequency. It creates some energetic choosiness is what it does. And so we see even now, that's a lot of that energetic choosiness that's coming through right now, because this is the energy that is very much refining and separation and saying, again, better to exist within my own space and be energetically patient than to potentially align with an energetic connection that feels like it moves me out of my own vibration. So there's beautiful work that's occurring right now for the energy in this collective in separation. And that's why I'm not going to say I'm surprised if some of the energies, if you guys say to me right now, I'm not really interested in partnership. Like, congratulations, you're very much in the embodiment of the energy deep within divine union. That brings us to the energy coming into divine union right now. And this is a lot of heavy, there's a lot of heavy energy right now coming into divine union. Because I'm just recognizing here that there's a lot of energy about to come into divine union that's becoming observational on their own cycles. And I want to say this, I'm either seeing a situation here of someone about to come into divine union that is recognizing the cycle that they may have found themselves in that has potentially prevented them from going deeper into divine union right now. Or this is someone bringing forth to someone trying to come into divine union and saying, it feels to me like you're repeating a cycle here. So this is what's so difficult about it, is I really see that there's energy on the outskirts here that's literally either someone's being shown their own patterns, or someone is recognizing it internally. And so we see even now that the ability to acknowledge those energetic patterns is what is now becoming the determination factor in the energetic frequencies that feel like they're moving deeper into energetic connection versus the ones that are falling out of it. Because if you're going towards someone and saying, do you recognize that there's a pattern here? And someone says, no, I don't. Then there's that modality of someone saying, I see you better than you see yourself, right? And so that can often be that articulation point wherein it can sometimes create a non-possibility space, because the ability, like, it's okay. I need to stress this. We all have patterns. We all have patterns. We love each other in our patterns. But the ability to take accountability for oneself and to observe oneself. It's really important work when you're building into partnership, because it's something that cannot be observed is something that cannot be repaired. Something that cannot be acknowledged is something that cannot be healed. So we see even now that there's some energy that's potentially moving away from an energetic connection. If someone is bringing forth to them and showing someone something and saying, I have to stress here, there's something here that I feel like is a bit of a pattern. And if someone's saying, no, there isn't, or I don't see that, like that sense of feeling like you're in different realities, like this is the energy I'm saying we are in an energetic connection, but we are in very different places. We are experiencing very different worlds. And that can sometimes create an untenability point in relationality to connection. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our Magician card in its reversal, center of our deck today. We're going to say it again. Something that is not acknowledged cannot be healed. Something that is not recognized cannot be worked upon, right? So, and we mentioned that a lot of the energy, what is happening right now, a lot of the energy coming into divine union is coming into divine union in a very hard, heavy way, because it's not that it's easy. They recognize it's hard, but they mutually agree upon what the work is going to be. Like they're like, all right, we're going to fix this room. Look, the roof's coming in. We got to do this work. Like they're both in that space of embodying it. But if these are situations and circumstances where one individual is saying, look, that needs to be fixed here, and someone's going, what leak? I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing there. Like that's a lot of that work. And this is hard, I see even now, for the energy that, if this is energy that is acknowledging this to someone, this is the energy walking away from something that they know can be healed, saying to themselves every step of the way, I cannot heal something that does not desire to be healed. I cannot heal something that does not desire to be healed. I cannot heal something that does not desire to be healed. Because when you try to heal something that doesn't feel like something like needs to be healed, that is the energy that will never see it as an energetic healing. They'll just experience it as trauma. So this is the energy saying, I'm not building into the potentiality of someone recognizing what they need to work on. That the ability to observe and to take accountability for what needs to be repaired is not a nice to have, it's a need to have. It's not a nice to have, it's a need to have, because that ability of doing so, that is the energy saying we're existing in the same space. We're here to do the same thing. You're not like walking in the room and one person's holding a hammer and the other one's holding a fishing net, and you're looking at each other going, what are you doing today? Because I thought we were working on this, but you're clearly going out there, right? Like that ability of doing so, this is the energy that's literally feeling the frustration and almost observing and being like, you know what, I could continue forward in this. That's the thing I see that's so frustrating with some of the energy experiencing that's right now. They're going, I could go forward in this. I could go forward under the illusion that everything is fine, right? Like that's the energy that's almost saying, I could proceed forward, but only having to live under the illusion of trying to tell myself that everything is fine. And this is the energy going, I'm not going to create an unhealed karma. I'm not going to create an unhealed karmic connection, which by existing or inhabiting a different space that someone is existing upon. And this is a lot of that energy that may be stepping back into separation at this time. Again, reaffirming to themselves, like coming into karmic closure almost as soon as they step away from something, saying over and over again, I can't heal something if someone doesn't think it's broken. Can't fix it if someone doesn't think it's broken. Can't heal something if someone insists that everything's fine, right? Like that energetic equivalent there. That is why we see that some of that energy is walking away. And it's with a heavy heart. I'm going to say it even now. There's some energy here coming back into separation with a heavy heart, but without delay. They're saying with a heavy heart, but without delay, because this is the energy that understands what's standing in the way. So with a heavy heart, without delay, with an understanding of what's standing in the way. That is why the energy is able to move forward right now with so much more of that energetic easement, because it's frustrating. I see the energy get infuriated because I see the energy saying, that's a fixable problem. Like I see the energy going, this is completely fixable, but only in the space that it is acknowledged as a problem. Whereas again, the energy that is mutually acknowledging what those problems are and is taking the accountability of recognizing and saying to themselves, this is what our work is. This is where the work begins. This is the energy saying it's heavy lifting, but together we can lift hard, we can do hard things. Together we can lift anything. So again, energy coming into divine union, energy falling into separation, all hovering on the acknowledgement on what needs to be repaired. Masculine and feminine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. In separation and divine union, same exact thing I'm seeing here. Not a lot of energy focusing on, I keep getting this pleasant surprise energy this October for a lot of the energy in separation. Because I just see a lot of energy right now that's in separation going, I guess I'm just going to be alone forever. And it's fine. Like the energy is literally in separation going, it's fine. Because this is the energy that is coming into, it's not just, I need to say this isn't just the fastidiousness of looking for a healthy energetic connection. This is the energy that feels perfectly comfortable in their own skin. This is the energy that's not looking towards connection to fill that void. This is the energy that's looking for the amplification of where they are and who they embody. So we see even now, like there's that energy saying, energy that's in alignment to the healing that I'm proceeding upon, or none at all. Because this is the energy saying, better to be with myself than with an energetic connection that feels like it's not in alignment to me. Because when you're in an energetic connection that's not in alignment to you, suddenly it feels like yourself is never enough. Well, for masculine and feminine energy, and just in the process of this, I get like bump, like I see a lot of new. I keep seeing, like I hear the universe going, is that a fact? Like I see the energy, like I feel like the universe is going, bet, like there's a lot of this energy here of masculine and feminine that are about to come into some energy of meeting new energy that's healing, or having someone being like saying that to them in some way, shape, or form, Well, masculine and feminine deep within divine union right now. Ugh, this is annoying. I'm sorry. The energy deep within divine union. Listen, I'm going to say this with all the love in my heart right now. Don't get annoyed today. It feels very hard not to be annoyed today if you're in divine union, because it just feels like the little things today. It feels like a little bit of that like little paper cut kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like just this, and it's requiring you to a certain extent to just kind of roll with the punches to it. And like that, sometimes, some days that's the best you can do. Someday, I gotta say that, listen, God sees you. God bless you. If you have those days where you're like, it'd be so easy, but I'm gonna stay in that space. I'm gonna be positive. I'm not, again, the same message we've had coming across over the few days. Remember, the lesson right now in this high vibrational Libra energy is not navigating from a state of saying, I have a right to. It is coming from a space of saying, I know what's right, right? So that ability of navigating forward in that space and being energetically considerate of those that are also doing that, like everybody's doing their energetic best, right? And even sometimes, and like even here, I see a lot of the energy deep within divine union going like, I could see them being like, some people's best is better than others. Like no, like don't do that even, because even here we see that there's a little bit of that energy that's coming through right now that like, it's like getting like those moments of being like, everybody's doing their best. Like it's a little bit of like with the clenched fist. So, but again, it's a lot of that type of energy today. Okay. Just, stay on that high road. Fourth card in our 5-card spread. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today. You see, look, everything's going to be fine. Because again, when deep within divine union, that sense of being able to, I want to say the thing with the energy within divine union right now is, and I would just be conscientious of this. It feels like the energy that you're in companionship, like in partnership with, that your counterpart energy. It just may feel like you guys are coming back and forth to one another and just, having that energetic release valve, if you will, just moving into that space of just, and again, it's like, and that's sometimes that's all we need, sometimes all we need is someone to say to us, I'm right there with you. Right? And so we see even now that even there, that energy of feeling that sense of doing something together, it's restorative. Now, the energy in separation right now, I just keep seeing a lot of this energy, like waking up and being like, I'm just going to be alone forever. And the universe is like, how about you let me surprise you? How about you let me surprise you? Because I just see even now, like a lot of this energy is like, nope, like I'm done. Nope, I am fine like this. I see a lot of the energy right now in separation being like, you know what? Like, no, like I'm kind of, I see the energy that's gotten comfortable. They're like, I like this. This is nice. Like I see the energy going, this is nice. Like I can do things when I want. I can go about my day. I got this energy being like, I'm free as a bird, because this is a lot of this energy here in separation that I want to say it's not even patience here. It's the energy that's really frustrated of the unhealed karmic connections. And I see even now the energy is like, come towards me healed or no way. And this is the energy being like, but I know not a lot of energy is healed. So the energy is going like, And the universe is like, how about I surprise you? Because I see even now new partnerships, new friendships, new energetic connections, and someone being like, I'm right there with you. I see a lot of energy like making friends here and being like, I should let you know, I'm not available right now. I'm working on my own self. Because here we go. I'm telling you, this is a lot of this pleasant surprise energy that's popping up around this. Fancy meeting you here. Now the energy, I'm telling you even now, this is the heaviest right now. And this is why. Do you see how the energy within divine union is navigating the frustration, is holding weight for the frustration of the energy coming into divine union? And the energy in separation is holding space for the grace that's required to walk away. You see how that's happening here? Because for a lot of this energy right now, I do see that there's a lot of energy in separation that's either coming into divine union right now. We've been seeing this has been heavy all week. And that's the energy that says it's not easy, but we're doing it together. And I'm here with you every step of the way. Right? They're both coming into acknowledgement of what they need to heal. And that mutual agreement on what needs to heal is the energetic commitment that is fortifying these partnerships. And that is why we see even now, if these are energies where someone's like, I don't see it that way. I don't see what or someone saying, do you see what I'm trying to show you? And someone being like, I don't see it, or I don't see it that way. This is a lot of energy that's almost saying to someone, well, I guess we have to go our separate ways, right? Because that's almost the energy that feels like they already are on separate ways, because this is the energy that's almost looking towards someone and saying, if I am looking around in a relationship and I see a problem that needs to be solved and you do not, then what we're recognizing is we're inhabiting different worlds. I'm looking at something that is painful. I'm looking at something that requires energetic work. You're looking at something that looks like a garden, that you have everything you need. And so that observational point in recognizing the difference between one person identifying a deficiency and another energy identifying a surfeit, this is that space where you can recognize that you can be energetically in connection with someone, but you could be miles apart. You could be galaxies away. You could be in entirely different realities. So even there, that ability of identifying and recognizing and doing that work, we see even now, like this is a lot of that energy that says, well, if you don't, and this is, I have to stress this isn't the energy that's saying, like you like peanut butter, I like chocolate, never the twain shall meet. This is heavy stuff. This is heavy stuff in the relationality of saying, if I am seeing something here that requires work, and you are refusing to acknowledge that work is either present there or necessary, then what you're seeing is this is your ideal. And that's another energy saying, what you identify as an ideal, I'm identifying as what needs to be healed. right? So even here, I see that there's potentially a lot of potential separations that may be happening in this context, but immediate healthy closure. No unhealed karma along the way, because this is the observation of the energy saying, I recognize and identify that we see things in completely, we desire different things, right? Because when we recognize that one person feels like something needs to be fixed and the other one feels like everything's fine, that's someone saying this is wrong versus someone saying this is perfect, right? And so this is the energy saying we're here, but we couldn't be further apart. So that's why I see even now there's a lot of that energy that is potentially moving away, but not saying to someone, you know, you can come back when you see things from my perspective. This is the energy that's taking that moment of acknowledging and saying, sometimes you can care about someone profoundly, but it doesn't mean you want the same things from them. It doesn't mean you have the same goals as they do. It doesn't mean that you desire the same relationship as they do. You know, that's why we always have to make sure that we articulate and build upon the aspiration of understanding and recognizing what our ideals are. Because when the emotions get in the way of that, you know, that's where we start having that unhealed karmic energy in feeling a strong energetic connection to someone, but wanting to move in very, very oppositional directions. And the nice thing about this is there's a lot of energy that's healed right now on the outskirts of the divine union that isn't, you know, that isn't romanticizing that. You know, they're not romanticizing the pain of that. They're just looking at the reality of it with a sense of frustration and satisfaction. But not, and I want to say satisfaction because this is the energy that recognizes that that sense of feeling energetic pain is not romantic. It's frustrating. And it usually does not feel like it's that sense of longing that articulates a lack. Well, fifth card in our 5-card spread for today. And in that way, we see that a lot of that progress is occurring because this is the energy saying, I'll see you. I mean, you know, if anything changes, this is the energy saying, if anything changes, if you ever recognize or see things in the same way, well, then perhaps one day we'll meet again. You know, continuing to get clarification on this, we've got here our Knight of Pentacles. This is all about the manifestation goals right now. And what's nice about this is I'm telling you even now, this isn't energy that is romanticizing the process of getting someone in alignment with one's own manifestation goals. Because usually when you romanticize the process of someone coming into your manifestation goals, what you may feel as someone coming home to you may feel to them like an energetic surrender, right? It can be very much in that space or place of having very different experiences on that. What's romantic is when two people want the same thing and they're both committed energetically in the sense of excitement and elation in building towards it. So we see even now that there's a lot of that energy that's letting go, coming into divine union and saying, I'm not going to build upon the potentiality of what could be. We're going to build upon the reality of what is. And this is the energy that's further saying, I'm not going to build into an energetic connection where I'm waiting for you to change, particularly if you don't recognize or identify that there's anything wrong, because that is building into a space or place of illusion, right? That's even in that context of saying maybe they're changing. If someone is saying, I see nothing wrong, like they're literally saying the moment you come into partnership with them, there's nothing to change, you know? Like even there, that is the energy saying that ability, like it's not like the ability to take account. And that's why the energy right now that's saying like, no, we mutually agree. This is what we need to work on. We're both going to be invested in fixing these things. We're not perfect, but being in partnership doesn't require us to be perfect. It requires us on doing the work to be as perfect as we can for one another in the process. You know, this is the energy that's willing to say, like, I recognize that being in divine union requires the heavy lifting necessary in order to carry it. Now, the energy, you know, the energy in separation right now, like that's why I see even now for some of that energy coming into separation, this is why now the energy in separation and the energy just coming into separation are singing the same song, which is just the energy saying, I'm taking my manifestation and I'm going forward. This is the energy saying, I'm not trying to sell someone my manifestation goal. I'm not trying to convince someone that what I desire is what they desire. This is the energy saying, if someone wants what I want, they're going to make it really clear that they want it. and this is the energy saying better to wait for the energy that desires the same things and wants to do that energetic work than to potentially build into an unhealthy karmic connection. So we see even now, like, that's a lot of that energy. And I see even now a lot of that energy being like, I guess, like, I'm perfectly, like, the energy going, I'm perfectly content moving forward, because this is the energy that's not looking for someone to fulfill that for them. They're looking for someone that wants to embody it with them, right? And when we were looking for someone that wants to embody it with us, it's like you're not like sitting there like holding a ball waiting for someone to play with you with it. It's like you're playing solitaire, and if someone wants to come up and play a game of cards with you, you're like, cool, because that's the energy that's content on moving forward in that direction, come what may, right? So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, there's a little bit of this easement here, very much embodying the energy that we see deep within divine union right now. Which is, again, and I like what I'm seeing here, because I'm hearing that for a lot of the energy right now deep within divine union, it does feel like a million little paper cuts right now, but I almost see the energy in divine union saying, did you move it an inch? Did you move forward an inch today? And the energy being like, yeah, I got my inch. And that the energy saying, well, then today was a success. Like, that's the energy. Like, that's the energy saying any progress forward is forward, even if it's difficult, right? Like, that's the energy that says, like, it doesn't matter. Some days you may leap ahead. Some days you may crawl ahead. But as long as you're moving forward, as long as you're pushing that way, rest assured that you're like that is enough, right? Because some days it feels like it takes everything to move something an inch. Some days it takes nothing to move something a mile. Today is one of those days that feels like everything, everything takes a lot more work, but you get that inch, if you will. You get to the source of the problem. You see the solution. You get your work cut out for you. Much like the energy that's coming into divine union. Continuing to get clarification right now between our Four of Swords in its upright in combination with our Six of Cups in its reversal. And this is what we want to watch out for today, because this is some triggering energy here. This is a little bit of that, like getting under your skin kind of stuff. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our King of Pentacles in its upright. Now, this is going to be a little bit better, again, masculine energy. I feel like this week has been very, a lot of emotional overwhelm that we were recognizing for a lot of masculine energy right now. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. I have to say that there's something right now that's happening in relationality to, and I want to say this, both masculine and feminine energy, getting to the source of a problem today. Getting that, there's a moment of energetic relief there. Why is there a moment of energetic relief? Because if every problem is solvable, but you have to understand what the problem is. Identifying what the problem is, especially if you're practically focused, it can feel very elevating, because then you're like, oh, good. like that's the energy. And I see even now that and this is why, because the importance point of the masculine, and I told you the last few days, it feels to me like even something in an emotional rush was brought forth to masculine that felt like it was some kind of energetic revelation. If this that moment of masculine being able to look to something and recognize what the hurdle is, this is a masculine going, well, I can fix that. This is the energy of masculine being like, I can rest assured, as long as you show me what the problem is, there's going to be a solution to it. And so, even here, this is why this energy, I got to tell you, it's hard conversations, but it's fortifying, I see it even now. It's that sense of really getting really frustrated, having that hard work, but then going, okay, at least I understand what I need to do to energetically fix something, feminine taking a little bit of a page from the masculine's book right now, which I have to say is kind of a positive here, because I see even now, like I almost see the feminine looking at some circumstances in the same way, and instead of coming into that emotional space, this is the feminine just working on being pragmatic, taking like the difference here is for masculine being energetically, emotionally available and sensitive is what's allowing some of those breakthroughs now. Feminine being very energetically practical. So feminine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to today. If you're feeling super emotional, ask yourself, what can I do to make something practical? And masculine, if you're feeling very much like you're looking for a solution, remember that sometimes navigating the emotions will help you identify what you can do in a practical spectrum. If for both energies right now, it's frustrating and challenging. Energy and separation right now, I gotta say, this is different for masculine and feminine. Masculine, I just keep seeing a lot of masculine and separation right now. That openness of emotionality is allowing the combination of the masculine to really understand what their manifestation goals are as it relates to partnership. So while this might not be a moment of masculine moving towards feminine, this is masculine really like setting themselves on the path. Like I see a lot of masculine energy right now being like, I want to become the person that I know I need to be in order to facilitate the energetic connection that I desire. And I need to stress this. I need to point this up. This is not masculine energy putting up a false sense of self to do it. This is masculine energy saying, the best way I can show up for my future partner is if I show up for myself. And the best way I can show up for myself is if I connect to my emotional heart. And I make sure that my emotional heart and my sense of strength are in alignment. Thank you for that gift. For feminine right now, I see feminine having a lot of that same energy, which is like, get out of my kitchen. There's a lot of this feminine energy and separation. I just keep hearing the same thing. If you're not going to pick up a spoon, if you're not going to be doing something in here, then you got to get out. And I see a lot of masculine energy coming towards feminine, being like grabbing a broom and being like trying to find something practical to do here. Because I see a lot of that. Like I see a lot of feminine energy. Like there is some masculine here that's trying to like look for some time, trying to have a moment of your kind. And I see the feminine being like, I don't have time, and being like, well, can I help you with what you don't what are you doing? Maybe I can help you do that. I'm going to do, I can lift things. I can do stuff. Like I see a lot of the masculine and separation, like coming towards feminine in this way. We got the, speaking of, as I'm saying that, look at and this is feminine and separation going, it's going to take more time to show you what to do than it would if I just did it myself. Right? But this is actually really sweet energy here. Like this is sweet energy. Look at these two. Come on. This is really adorable. Come on. You got like I see it even now. Like I see some feminine energy like looking at masculine and separation askance, because I see even now masculine being like, Can I help with that? And then being like, why? Wait, what? Like, and I gotta say it even now, I feel like there's some like new energetic connections that are happening right now. If you're not self-aware or if you're neurodivergent, this might fly completely over your head. Because I see even now like some energy being like, hey, maybe I can help you, and being like, okay, like, because we see this even here. Like this is a feminine that's like I see almost masculine trying to come towards feminine in some way, being like, I could do that. And feminine being like, that's ridiculous. Why would you? Oh, wait. And I can see some feminine being like, is this person hitting on me? Like I can see a lot of this energy here. I told you a little bit of this pleasant surprise energy. Like a little bit of this pleasant surprise energy in the air to a certain extent. Well, and again, for the masculine and feminine energy, deep within divine union, this is more difficult today, because this is feminine having more of a day. Like this is a feminine having more of a day, and masculine being like trying to give support and being like I know I appreciate, like, is there anything I can do to help? And feminine being like, no, like no. Because even here, I need to stress, like, is there anything I do to help? And feminine being like, no, like no. Because even here, I need to stress why. I'll tell you why. Because if if I'll put it this way, if even here, I need to stress why. I'll tell you why. Because if if I'll put it this way, if masculine is building into emotional spaces where they're able to have that space of giving someone their energetic ear to a certain extent, there's something stabilizing here. Like I feel like masculine's getting to the heart of an emotional problem and feeling like they're starting to find out ways to like identify and navigate how to heal unhealed karmic connections. And also recognizing what feels like it can't be healed. Like I see it even now. Like I see some masculine energy unpacking stuff, either within the self or with another, and saying like I can always hear the masculine being like, I'm never going to be able to forgive them for that, or I know they're never going to forgive me for that. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that like understanding that's occurring there. So this is breakthrough energy for masculine right now. For feminine, I got to say, having a lot of people come towards you with like emotionality and trying to take the energetic high road and be practical, it's more frustrating, right? It can be more energetically frustrating. And that's what we see even now as it relates to the energy coming into divine union right now. Because I see even now, it's like they're saying to me up or down right now. Like this is really like, it feels to me like there's something even here, like going back and forth for a while. And that recognition point, and they're saying everything hinges on mutual recognition on what the work is and when the work begins. Because if these are situations, I'm telling you even now, it's not the fact that these divine unions aren't coming into divine union, but it's requiring heavy lifting. And when something requires heavy lifting, you got to make sure that you're both lifting in the same direction, or else you get that tug, right? And this is the energy that's literally looking at the like they're not looking at how they feel. They're looking at the viability of the direction of the energetic connection. Because this is the energy that's reaffirming and saying, if we're both not pushing in the same direction, then this whole relationship is going to feel like a tug of war. And this is the energy saying, I would do anything to be able to maintain an energetic connection with you, but I won't do that. I won't make it feel like it's forced. I won't make it feel like I'm forcing you into something, and I don't want you to feel like you're forcing me. Everything navigating choice, and that choice it's not even a choice here. This is the energy even recognizing and saying some things we don't choose, some things we embody. So we see even now that these are connections where someone's saying, do you recognize that this is what we need to work on? Do you see these energetic patterns? And that's not the energy being critical, right? That's the energy trying to be prescriptive and saying like, look, there's a solution to this. There's something we can do. And if someone denies that, if someone's like, no, I don't see it, then this is the energy that says, well, then I guess we're experiencing this relationship in completely different worlds. Because then you're saying that everything is fine, and I'm saying everything needs to be refined. This is the energy that says this is the manifestation goal versus someone saying this is not where we desire to be. And in that moment, they're able to come into healing because they are able to build into a healthy separation and say, I guess this is where I leave you. Right? Because that's not coming forth from a place of animosity. That's not coming forth from a point of change. That is the energy that does so to a certain extent under a state or space of consideration and recognition and that clarity, as it were. Like this is the energy that comes into that healthy point of healing. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Magician card in its reversal in combination with our Two of Cups in its upright. May I please have one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with our Two of Pentacles in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now, like the beauty, I have to tell you, the thing that's happening here, and again, I see energy coming into divine union, and it's beautiful, right? Because that energy coming into divine union, that observation in sharing in the energetic work, in recognizing and identifying what needs to be worked upon, that ability of doing so, and that ability of navigating together. This is the energy that feels like that sense of alignment, because this is the energy saying we are aligned in recognition of what it is that we need to do to facilitate repairing in order to perpetuate the connection in an even better way. So we see even now a lot of that deepening of connection here. A lot of energy right now, potentially coming into separation at this time with the observation of one person articulating and showing what the work should be. And if the other energy is coming into a space of arguing and saying that it's different work, or refusing to admit that there's any work to be done at all, this is the energy that's saying, well, I guess we're existing in completely different spaces. I guess we have very different designs in relationality to what it is that we aspire in connection. And so we see even now there's healthy energetic connections that are coming through on that. Now, the difficulty with some of that, I need to stress, is if one person is trying to articulate to someone and saying, this is what needs to be corrected, and the other person is in that modality of denial, that's that sense of saying to someone, even as you're coming to that departure point, like, look, I can see even now someone saying, like, recognize I'm not saying that with the desire to force you to change. I can almost see someone saying, I'm not walking away from this as some kind of point of ultimatum. This is the energy that's almost saying, I'm recognizing that there's a disparity here, right? And that's what's so fundamental about some of these separation points right now is, it's about reality. Like it's about reality. Like this is the energy that's like saying, I don't want you just to say that you see a problem when you really don't think there is a problem. This is the energy that says, like, you have to embody that. You have to see it. Like it's not something you just give wordplay to. So there's something very, very fundamental that's happening in some of these separations right now, because this is the energy that's saying, like, you can't just say, oh wait, I see it now, and being like, no, you didn't see it a minute ago. Like that's what's so hard about this. Like this is the energy that's saying, like, we're inhabiting two different worlds. This is the energy being like, the never the twain shall meet there. Now, for masculine and feminine energy in separation now, there's a lot of new energetic connections that are forming. A lot of new energetic connections are forming. And a lot of it, I need to say, the beauty that I'm seeing with a lot of these energetic connections that are forming is, first of all, they feel like they're surprise energy. I literally see someone wandering around being like, I am not looking. And then just pop, working, almost working to avoid coming into partnership right now, because I can see that they're feeling like overwhelmed. And here comes some new surprises. Here comes some new opportunities. And the thing about this right now is what's appreciative here is look at these connections. There's so much authenticity, because again, the gift that they're giving one another as they come into divine union is a desire not to waste one another's time, right? Like when time becomes a precious commodity, that sense or that space of not wanting to waste one another's time becomes like a gift. So we see even now, and this is what's beautiful about this, and this is what I'm seeing for the feminine right now, at least the thing that's happening right now for the feminine in separation is it does feel like there's new energetic connections that are coming towards you right now with masculine energy that is working very hard to be energetically clear, right? But I like this too, because this is saying to me that is coming through. This is not masculine. And I see even now, like some of the trepidation of the feminine is looking towards masculine and saying, are you saying that because it's true, or are you saying that because that's what I want to hear? Right? Like I told you even here, like there's a little bit of that discernment that's happening right now for the energy in separation, in relationality, towards the recognition point as it relates to the manifestation goals. Because even here, I'm just recognizing and identifying that feminine, both of these energies are coming into a space of deep recovery from unhealed karmic connections. For feminine, that sense of like protecting oneself, like this is the feminine energy that's holding their energy very close to themselves at this time, because more affirmation. Because did you just see some of these situations that we saw that were happening right now for so much of this energy that's potentially stepping back into separation? This is the energy that is navigating And this is what's hard for some of this energy coming back into separation. That fine line between the ability of someone to feel that they want something versus recognizing the work it takes to have it. It's hard, right? That's like, I can see even now, like that's a hard energetic lesson for some energy coming back into separation, experiencing. Because I have to say, even there, this doesn't feel to me like some of that energy coming into separation feels like someone was lying to them, right? This isn't energy that feels like there wasn't that mutual desire as it relates to manifestation goals. This feels like the frustration in seeing someone that may articulate a desire for something, but showed in either their own lack of observation of themselves or their own patterns, or in their anxiety rising to the surface and stopping a movement forward, deepening into connection, and instead pulling away. That sometimes we say we want something, but we're not necessarily prepared to fully embody it. So we see even now, like that's why even now, so much of both the masculine and feminine in separation are navigating. Like I see masculine building forth towards feminine, trying to show the feminine. And that's why I see even now like that hard work energy around the masculine. That's why the masculine in separation is going, look, I can do hard, heavy things. Because this is the masculine that's trying to show feminine in some way, shape, or form. You know, I know the actions that my words predicate upon. I'm ready to do the work. Like that's a lot of the energy of the masculine in separation right now, saying to feminine, I know what it means to work hard. I'm not afraid of hard work. And feminine is in separation saying, are you sure you know what you're doing? Have you ever picked up a broom before? Like this is a lot of the feminine. Like that's why the feminine is having a little bit of that trepidation, because this is feminine recovering from spaces of masculine being like, I know what I'm doing. And then being like, yeah, nope. So continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Two of Cups in its upright in combination with our Knight of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with, again, and this is why the feminine right now is like, I can see so much of this feminine energy right now, just putting a little bit of a distance between like towards masculine, because like this is the sense of like, this is giving a little bit of this energy of feminine, of looking towards masculine and separation. Like, you know, like there's clumsiness here. Like it's almost like someone looking and saying like they're clumsy, like someone who's trying to do something but they're not good at doing it. And so I see even now, like the one thing I will say is I do feel like there are some new energetic connections that are forming right now. And this is, and I think even now that the beauty that I'm seeing to a certain extent is, you know, masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. I see a lot of this energy. I'm telling you even now. Do you see these separations that are coming through? These are the energies that are built for one another along the way, right? Because we're seeing here that if this is masculine that was trying to navigate forth towards feminine, and that sense of like the feminine that pulled back at a time that the masculine wanted to go forward, and that affirmation of masculine saying, you know, walking away from a situation and saying, you know, I know that that's not a failure point on my part. I'm looking for energy that's brave enough to move forward with me, right? And we see even now that this is a lot of the feminine and this is the masculine saying, I'm not going to change. Like this is the masculine. This is why the masculine's more firm in this. This is the masculine going, I'm not going to change my direction. I just need to find feminine energy that is equally strong enough to navigate and do that energetic work with me, right? For feminine, this is feeling more frustrating because this is the feminine, that if this is the feminine that was trying to come forth towards masculine, and masculine said that they desired something, but then at the time of arrival, they pulled away, right? They showed the lack of confidence or even some kind of pattern that was being displayed. This is the feminine energy that feels more, I want to say, energetically portrayed in that moment because it creates that space or anxiety of energetic trust. So you see even now, that these energies are they're in very similar situations, right? And so even now, like some of that, you know, like some of that work here, we see that this is like a lot of masculine energy that's very committed on that pathwork of what it is that they want to build with feminine. Feminine feeling more anxiety about the actual strength that is necessary to maintain an energetic connection. And we see even now potentially new energetic connections that are potentially starting, but feminine is in a space of like deep trepidation. You know, I see even now like feminine's in that space of feeling the frustration in being, I want to say, let down by masculine that may potentially have said that they desired something, but then didn't show the strength in order to navigate into it, right? While for masculine, you know, this is more masculine coming into that modality, I want to say, of, you know, I even see here, like, I see a lot of masculine, like trying to ask for energetic time right now from feminine that, you know, looks like they're focusing all their energy away from partnership. But I see even now, like, that's a lot of the masculine energy that's moving with a lot of determination towards the feminine in that modality, because this is the masculine energy that's almost trying to come into that space of saying, like, let me show you that I am energetically consistent. Let me show you that my words and my actions match. Let me show you that I have the constancy and the bravery necessary in order to maintain an energetic partnership. While the energy right now coming into divine union, you know, and I feel like we're going to start talking specifically about the energy coming into divine union right now, because I need to say, like, a lot of that energy that's coming back into separation at this time, I don't feel like this energy is waiting for someone to change. I need to point this out. You don't necessarily wait for someone to change if you feel like that sense of experiencing a different reality through which you are experiencing something versus another person was experiencing something, because, like, you know, like that's that, like, you know, that almost creates an impossibility vortex wherein, like, you're saying to yourself, like, even if they come towards you and say, like, I see things your way right now, it creates that uncertainty, being like, do you? Or are you just saying that for the sake of trying to heal something energetically, right? You know, the one thing I want to say right now is there's a lot of energy in separation right now that is not holding on to things. And that's why I saw that so much of this Libra energy, like, feels just like clarity, right? It feels just like that like that power wash, right? Because this is the energy that feels like they were utilizing a lot of patience during that process. And when we come into a point of patience and determination, you know, this is the energy that, you know, I want to say it's the drawing of the conclusion, but it's not a conclusion energy. It doesn't feel like someone's trying to get clarity. It feels like a lot of departure from situations, feeling like one's seen everything that one needs to see and understanding with full clarity the circumstances and situations, right? And there's healing there, right? There's healing there because, you know, that understanding of saying, like, I care about someone, but we don't see eye to eye on things. Or, you know, I cared about someone, but their version of perfect was painful to me. Like, there's a lot of that energy just coming into that resolution and immediately being able to proceed forward, because it's frustrating and it's disheartening, but it's not heartbreaking because it's not confusing. Continuing to get clarification between our King of Pentacles in its upright and our Queen of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. We've got here our Six of Swords in its upright. Now, the thing about this is, I see even now, this is healthy closure that we see is occurring right now for so much of this energy in separation. Because for so much of this energy in separation right now, that observation in the difference between what can be fixed and what is just needs to be accepted. Like, they're saying that a lot of this eclipse in Libra created that clarity. And that's why for a lot of the energy right now, moving into divine union, there's heaviness here, right? Because this is the energy saying it's not perfect, but they're both energetically committed on that pathwork of healing to do the best that they can, right? While the energy that feels like they're not seeing eye to eye, or they can't come into that space of agreeing on what needs to heal, or one person saying that everything's fine and the other one saying that this is not fine, this is causing energetic pain. That ability of just departing from that situation and saying to someone, we clearly have different desires in relationality to what we think is positive, and that's not, this is the energy saying, I don't want you to feel like you have to go forward and feel like you're letting go of what you consider ideal in the process. This is why so much of that energy is coming into separation from a point of like sadness and grief, but also acceptance, right? Because it's allowing for that ability to move forward and not feel like one's energetically waiting for someone to change their mind, because this isn't the energy looking at something and saying that it's a choice. It's almost someone saying like, I'm accepting the fact that their reality is that there isn't a choice. That's just the experience that they're having, right? Now, for the energy in separation, I see a lot of new energetic connections that are building up and articulating upon these points right now. A lot of similarities in sharing those experiences. A lot of energy saying, I stuck around, like, and I have to stress this. This isn't the energy that says, you know, I left as soon as something was difficult. This is the energy that said, I would have stayed for anything so long as we could have agreed on what could be fixed. And I left in that moment that I was trying to articulate and say something needed to be fixed, and someone refused to admit that there was something there that needed it. Like, this is the energy that's like, and even here we see that there's a lot of catharsis, because I see a lot of new energetic connections, you know, potentially arriving even on the cusp of that, you know, and even see energy saying like, I need a little time here. You know, I see someone being like, look, I can't rush through a process right now, because some of that, I have to tell you, some of that process that just happened was very rushed. I literally see a lot of these energetic connections that started during the retrograde cycle and just ended during the eclipse. While for the energy in deep within divine union right now, this is just making space for some of that annoying energy that we're seeing right now. This is just making space, you know, for some of that annoying energy. And I think that the advantage here is, you know, I think, and it is having a different impact on masculine and feminine. For feminine, it's more frustrating, I want to say, you know, because I see even now that for a lot of the feminine energy navigating those circumstances or situations, you know, I feel like there's a little bit of that energy of the feminine that's going through those experiences, bearing in mind it's not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, which is like, I feel like a lot of the feminine is being articulated by that feeling of saying, no matter what I do, somebody's upset, right? And I see masculine going, yeah. Like, I see masculine going, yeah, like that, yeah, exactly. And feminine being like, but that's not fair. And masculine being like, yeah. Like, it sucks. Like, there's masculine here. Like, the thing about this is there's something about that acceptance point, and recognizing that no matter what you do, there's going to be someone energetically displeased by you in the process of doing it. That is it's a little bit easier for the masculine to energetically shoulder right now. For feminine, it feels a little bit more difficult, because I told you a lot of the feminine energy is working right now on not feeling that sense of being energetically liked instead of right. Like, that's that moment of the feminine that's still doing a lot of work in that capacity. So today is a little bit harder for feminine in that way. Continuing to get clarification on, and like, I feel like masculine's more used to like saying like, yeah, you just take that on the chin. You know, like, you just take it on the chin. Continuing to get clarification between Queen of Pentacles in its reversal and our Two of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Five of Cups in its upright. So like, there's a lot of catharsis here today. It's like, again, guys, this is like eclipse hangover right now, right? It's heavy. It's a heavy energy, but it's also allowing, you know, I keep seeing even now, there's a lot of closure that's happening right now. And in the process, new doors are opening in the process. Like that's like, this is what we talk about. Often often these eclipse cycles bring forth like a lot of transition energy. And the thing with transition energy, and again, it sounds really good in theory. Everyone's like, don't you want to transform? And someone being like, I would love to transform. Okay, you got to be ready to let go. And someone being like, what are you talking about? You're like, wait, what? You're like, okay, like again, if you want to change, right? Like if you want to change, you have to be ready to kind of go through that process, and remembering that process is messy, it's ugly, right? So we see even now that, like, I will say the energy deep within divine union is like going through a little bit of that messiness and saying like, yeah, the messiness does not mean that you're doing something energetically wrong. Some processes are just messy by the very nature of the of how they are. You ever seen birth? Like it's messy when you're creating something. And there's a lot of that sense of being able to go through the process of letting go in the wake of creating something new. So I see even now like a lot of that energy deep within divine union is navigating that, and they're reaffirming their own energetic commitment to oneself by saying transformation is messy. Like doing like that work, and even here like trying to navigate and hold space for what you're letting go in the process of some of that change. Like there's sadness here, there's catharsis, but there's also a beautiful amount of energetic support that I see is happening right now in relationality of feeling the energetic support of the counterpart that's feeling it and experiencing it in the same way. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now coming into divine union. This is why I see that like this is either profoundly strong energetic connections that are coming into divine union at this time, because this is the energy that says it's hard, it's difficult, but I'm here with you every step of the way. That commitment point, that sense of saying to oneself, I'm not here because it's easy, I'm here because it's hard. This is the energy that is fully invested in divine union, because they realize that divine union is messy. It's messy. It's messy. It's not sunshine and rainbows. It may look like that. It's like the swan energy. Like the swan may look like they're beautiful as they're coasting against the water, but you don't get to see all of the work underneath the surface that goes into keeping that bird afloat, right? So we see even now that ability of navigating and saying, I'm here for your mess and you're here for mine. Like that is the energetic commitment that we see is being navigated by those energies coming into divine union. And it's like that, it's that swan energy. It looks beautiful. Like it looks easy. It looks effortless to everyone that sees it, because they don't have to see all the messiness that occurs underneath the surface to allow something to move, right? And the energy coming into divine union appreciates and understands that process. Now, masculine, and this is why the energy coming into separation right now is kind of doing a little bit of like able to walk away from something, and they're not really looking backwards. Because if that's the energy that feels like someone idealized, right? That was idealizing the energetic connection, that like was only there for the good parts, was only there for that flourishing. And then the minute something got hard, something started to fall apart. And that's the energy saying, yeah, it could have been beautiful. But again, that's the difference between an energetic connection that is a short-lived blossom versus the energy that says that ability of being like building work, that ability of maintaining, that ability of keeping something in the state that you desire it. There needs to be that mutual investiture in maintaining the vibration, because it's easy to fall in love. It's a lot harder to stay in it. And so we see even now a lot of that energy stepping away from something and saying that person doesn't have the strength to be in an energetic connection. That person has a pattern that they don't see within themselves. That person only sticks around when it's easy and flees when it gets hard. That that person, like that individual, doesn't understand what it takes. They're overly romanticizing the idea that perfection exists, instead of recognizing that perfection is something that you work for and towards instead of just stumble upon. So we see even now, like a lot of that energy, I see that that's energy potentially walking away from something and not looking backwards, because that's the energy that feels like they've come into that point of determination. And it's in that moment where someone's saying, like, you know, like, that's the difference between the words that don't match the action. And I see even now new energetic connections forming by articulating upon those situations. Continuing to get clarity between our 2 of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our 9 of Swords in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. And this is why the energy is walking away in separation from that and not potentially looking back, because that's the energy saying if someone is desiring perfection but they're not showing the ability to work towards it, that's a recipe for disaster. that's all aspiration, no implementation. That's all fluff. There's like all artifice, no filling. Someone that just sees the exterior of relationships and goes, I want that, but doesn't have the conscientiousness to recognize the work that goes into having that. That just feels like, you know, oh, why did, like, that's the type of energy if someone goes around goes, why does everyone else have this and I don't? And saying, well, it's like, you know, like that's the energetic equivalent of having to say to someone, well, that's because they're working their damnedest every moment of the day to be able to have that. It's not natural. It's intentional. And so we see even now, like, the beauty of some of these new energetic connections that are happening right now, both coming into divine union and in separation, is I see like there's a lot of new energetic connections. They're saying to someone like, yeah, someone wanted something with me, but they showed in some way, shape, or form that they didn't have what it takes to actually do the work necessary in having it. And for a lot of the energy coming into divine union right now, this is the energy that says, I'm not here for the good part, I'm here for the mess. This is the energy saying, come what may, for better or worse, on the best days and on the worst days. This isn't the energy that goes away when things get too hard. This is the energy that works to make that bad day a good day. So we see even now, like, that's the energy, that ability to commit to that, you know, it's heavy right now. I see even now, like, a lot of energy, like having fear about whether they can fix something, but they're already in the pathwork of fixing it, because both of the energies are feeling the same way and they're both committed to doing that work. Continuing, we've already got that card out. Well, for the energy deep within divine union right now, this is a lot of that feeling of just like, again, I feel like the thing with a lot of the energy within divine union right now is that feeling that, like, you know, some days, no matter what you do, it feels like it's not the right thing to do. You know what I mean? That's sometimes the nature of a day. You know, like there's a little bit of this energy here where it feels like that choosiness, that fastidiousness. I told you, that hypersensitivity, being like, you know, like it's giving me a little like trombone kind of music today. Like one of those days where it's like, and this is why the energy is saying, if you got your inch, you got your inch. Some days you just get an inch, you know, so any kind of like, some days that inch takes a little bit more work. So again, if you're feeling that today, remember, like small victories is the watchword for today. Continuing to get clarification between our 6 of Swords in its upright and our 5 of Cups in its upright. We've got here our Hierophant in its transverse. So I see even now, like the thing about this type of energy right now is it's transitional. I told you this post-eclipse times, it's transitional energy. So there's a lot of stuff up in the air, you know, like it's like a lot of this feeling, you know, it's frustrating, you know, like it's frustrating. And that's why, you know, I need to stress a day like today is not the day that you like. Today's the day that you don't get mad about your big goals. Look towards those tiny, I want everybody today to like write down what you got done. Don't be looking at what you have to do. Look at the list. Like make sure you're writing lists right now on everything that you've got done. Celebrate those victories today in a big way, especially if you're in divine union. Because I see even now, like some of that energetic frustration, it's, you know, it's requiring resiliency right now. And patience. Well, for masculine and feminine energy right now, coming into divine union, I even see a bunch of energy that's coming into divine union saying, I don't know what's going to happen with us. But this is the energy that like they're already like you're fine. Because this is the energy that says, that's working through those difficulties, but they're invested in doing that work together. And so even the ability of looking and feeling that anxiety and uncertainty and saying, I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to do our best to do it. This is the energy that's already in the divine union frequency, because it's also articulated by the fact that the frequency is not always easy. It's all about whether you're invested in trying to maintain something to a certain degree, and the ability of recognizing and mutually sharing the acknowledgement on what needs to be repaired. This is the energy that feels that security in it, because you're existing in the same space where you're having reality about it. While for the energy right now coming into separation, this is the energy coming into separation specifically under the auspices of the situation where, again, if someone's articulating that there's a problem and the other person is completely resistant to admitting there is one, this is why any chance of energetic connection back from this may feel so impossible, because that's the difference between someone feeling like they'll say anything to be able to maintain or build back into a connection versus truly energetically recognizing and feeling something, right? And I see even now, like, there's a lot of that energy saying, I don't want wordplay. I don't want you just to agree and say, okay, fine, I'll do anything in order to maintain an energetic connection with you, because saying to somebody, I'll do anything isn't the vibration of love. It's that space of it's the difference between feeling like you're both moving towards a direction with a sense of joy versus someone feeling like they're coming into some kind of profound surrender in order to try to navigate. One is profound, the other is painful, right? So that's why we see even now, that's the energy saying, I don't want you to change for me. I want you to change for you. I want you to acknowledge this. I want you to see it, and I want you to mean it, right? And this is why we see even now so much of that energy in separation. I see even now the energy articulating about the reasons why they may be in separation and being like, we reached a moment where I recognize somebody saying, we reached a moment. I recognize that we actually wanted very different things. And some of those energies in separation, I can almost hear them saying, and I don't think that person realized it, but I saw it via what they were, like their words that didn't match their actions. Like, I see a lot of energy right now coming into new energetic connections, articulating and saying, the thing that was difficult is I saw something that I was trying to repair, but if someone can't acknowledge to fix it, that's the difference between having to live with something versus being able to fix it. And I see even now, like, a lot of that energy saying that was a bridge too far. Like, that ability of not coming into that space. This is like the energy that says, I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that, because that's the energy saying it would have required one of us to have to live in a fiction, right? While for a lot, and so even now there's catharsis that I see that's happening right now, even in that modality, because again, this isn't the energy that feels like they're waiting for someone to change. This is the energy embracing the reality of the circumstances by which they're in separation. And it's heavy. Like, I can see it even now. Like, there's energy questioning themselves in that. But I also feel like this is the energy that's reaffirming their commitment to themselves and saying that commitment should be something that is a joy. Because if we don't make changes for commitment that feel like a joy, then that's that moment that feels like commitment becomes an energetic burden. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now between our Five of Cups in its upright in combination with our Six of Wands in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Look at this. This is what we want to see today. We've got here our Five of Swords in its upright. I mean, we get knocked down, we get up again. So there's a lot of this energy here in separation. I see it even now. Like, there's a little bit of this. This is why I see even now. The only difference I see here is masculine moving in separation right now with a lot more determination. Feminine is in separation right now, and I just see the fact that the feminine is not necessarily really focused towards partnership. Like, I just see a lot of feminine energy right now that's really focusing on moving forwards. I see a lot of masculine right now in separation, that I feel like whatever this was that happened, like that ability of identifying and knowing what you want in an energetic connection has become clear. And I see even now, for so much of that masculine energy, the reason something may be clear here is, and this is why it's different for the energy falling into separation right now. For masculine, it feels like a lot of that masculine brought something forth to feminine. You know? Like that observation of either what they wanted to build with the feminine or what they felt like they needed to fix. And if that was the feminine that was resistance against that, was pulling away from that, this is a masculine in separation saying, again, I don't want to build with someone that doesn't desire the same things as me. And so we see even now, like that's a lot of that masculine energy that I see in separation that is very focused and clear in relationality to what those manifestation goals are. For feminine energy right now, this is feminine that knows their manifestation goals, but you see even now why so much of this feminine is now keeping their manifestation goals close to their chest. Because for some of the feminine energy right now coming into separation, this feels frustrating in relationality to a masculine that articulated potentially the need or desire for something, but did not show the ability of strength to maintain it, right? Both of these energies are navigating spaces or places where fear may have held someone back. And the observation point of the ability of someone to say that they desired something, but then not being able to put the energy towards it. Like this is where we see even now so much of that breakthrough is happening, because I see even now like this is a new ground through which to build. We just recognize and identify this here. This is a lot of that energy that is not, I want to say they're not afraid to talk about the type of energetic connection they want. But they also recognize that, that state of like stating your intentions, but then moving with intention. This is the energy that is committed towards in separation, building forth from a place of being very mindful of identifying someone who has the strength, like really shows the understanding of what it takes in order to facilitate an energetic connection. And I see even now like a lot of that energy coming into in separation, having a lot of conversations about past relationships. I almost see a lot of that marcation point being a lot of conversation, unpacking where they were to try to understand and recognize if someone is moving away from something because there was like a misconception or something being too hard, or if there was that point of energetic frustration and doing everything one could up until the moment there was an existent point of recognizing that you were under like living, like moving towards very different manifestation goals. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, coming into divine union, this is feeling like breakthroughs. Because I see even now there's a lot of energy that's redefining their own perception of relationship. Because if this is the energy that's saying, like reaffirming their commitment and saying to one another, it doesn't matter how many times we fall, it just matters how many times we get up. This is the energy that's basically saying to one another that beautiful moment that's happening here is the energy saying, I will always be here to try to get back up with you, right? And that is the energetic uplift that's occurring right now. That's creating that space of coming into divine union. And it's from that mutual acknowledgement of what that work is. While for masculine and feminine deep within divine union right now, I see a lot of energetic transition energy right now, and it's a messy process. And I see even now either trying to rebuild energetic connections outside of the divine union that's messy, or, tangibly doing some kind of work right now that feels like, it could be like a literal like cleaning up of an energetic mess to a certain extent, that like almost allows that space of redefining what those prioritization points are, or the redefining of the energetic priorities in the wake of it. Final card for today's spread is, we've got here the Sun card, which I love to see, a beautiful card for us to conclude our reading today. Again, same message that I'm seeing. A true energetic commitment, it doesn't mean that you don't have moments that are difficult. It doesn't mean that everything's energetically perfect. And I know that often it looks like that on the outside. But the beautiful defining characteristic of an energetic connection is that sense of security and support, and saying to someone, it doesn't matter how many times you fall, I'm going to be here to help you get back up, because when you fall, I fall. This is something that we do together. Like that sense of like navigating. And here he's even see, these are the energies that don't separate that journey. This is the energy that says, like, where I go, you go. If I'm low, if you're low, I'm low, right? And that's not the energy. I need to stress this. This is not the energy that matches, right? This isn't the energy that goes like, you go low, I go low. Like, no, that's not what that means. Okay? That means that the ability to, when you're saying to someone, right, wherever you are, I will be there too. You're never really lost, because I will always find you. That is the energetic equivalent of being in harmony in an energetic connection, because that is the energy that says you'll never be in darkness, because I will be your light. And I'm not going to be your light. You know, that's not you kind of going into the darkness because you know that, right? That's not, but that's the energy that says we create light within ourselves. We both work towards that, because that way, when one of us feels darkened, we know the other will be bright, right? And so we see even now some of the energy moving away from an energetic connection is having to say to someone, it seems to me like you don't recognize that the gift that we create in divine union is we act to be our own light so that we can shine for one another. Because I see even now, if there's a modality of someone saying like, hey, I thought you were going to be here, you know, I thought that you were going to be here, like come what may, like no matter what the change is, and someone saying, yeah, but change is foundational. That ability of moving towards manifestation goals is important, because if there's that modality where someone, you know, is trying to say we need to do some work here to kind of come back into a space of positivity, and someone's saying there's no work that needs to be done, this can often create a space where it feels like someone's saying like, stay in the darkness with me, right? And that's the energy being like, well, no, like that's not what we're trying to do here, right? We need to come into that space of recognizing and acknowledging that we're sharing that same modality of wanting to fix something. And so we see even now like that ability of saying, if we both don't see things in the same way, we'll create that feeling of one of us feeling like we're residing in energetic darkness for the sake of another's light. This is the energy saying, I love you, but I don't want to facilitate doing that, because that's that modality where you're not sharing the same manifestation goal. It feels like someone has relinquished the manifestation goal in order to facilitate staying in the energetic connection. So we see even now like some of that work, it's heavy, it's hard, it's devastating. But this is why we see that the energy is not trying to change someone's mind in that context, but recognizing the nature that we come into union is important and foundational. While for the energy right now in divine union, like this is a lot, and this is the same energy right now that's like in separation. Like there's a little bit of this energy right now in separation that is feeling like, again, and I need to point this out, for some energy that's just come into separation, you know, it's that feeling that sometimes the right thing to do isn't always the easy thing. You know, like I see it even now, like a lot of that energy being very conscientious and reaffirming and saying that the ability of understanding like what the manifestation goal is, like that's, you know, like that's the energy I even see is getting that affirmation, because I see even now like a lot of energy in separation. They're not looking outside of the self for that direction. They're moving forward, and they're saying, you know, if you're like, this is the energy like, if I find you along the way, that's great, but I don't want you to feel like you need to change your direction in order to facilitate a connection, right? While for the energy deep within divine union, this is the energy that's kind of rolling with the punches right now. Like this is the energy that's kind of rolling with the punches. And sometimes, like again, some days having an inch is important. Some days the joy that we give one another, like the smile we provide on another's face, Like maybe that's like one of those moments, like it makes it all like, how was your day? Fine, right? Like it was fine. Because if that, like taking those subtle joys or having those subtle moments, it's like I see even now, like that's the energy saying it's good. I'm okay again. Bottom of the deck on today's reading, Queen of Wands in its upright. So I told you even now, this is a little bit harder. It's a little bit of a harder day for feminine energy today, because I told you feminine energy is doing a lot of this. Masculine energy is healing a lot of this emotional stuff right now. And I see even now it's fixing relationships, like taking different approaches to relationships right now. This is why it feels a little bit more grounding for masculine. For feminine, that ability of continuing to navigate forward and have that sense, like I see even now, like this, I told you, the feminine feeling energetically isolated in the sense or the space of working on that pathwork of purpose. You know, I see even now, like it can create that moment of isolation for the feminine to a certain extent, because I see when we talked about the isolation it create for the masculine, but for feminine, you know, when you come very much into your own sense of self, you know, I need to reaffirm feminine. If you're not everyone's cup of tea, maybe you're just a really special tea. Like maybe if you're not everyone's cup of tea, that means you're a specialty. It means you're a specialty. You know, and so I think that it's often those moments that feminine is having right now in feeling some of that frustration, but then like recognizing that even in that modality, that feeling of separation is kind of part and parcel in terms of coming into alignment with one's own self. You know, like that's a little bit of that work right now across all of the frequencies for the feminine. And it's hard, right? Because again, that's the feminine coming into their own energetic power, but then working on those boundaries, particularly in relationality to both energy trying to come towards them, but also like maintaining those healthy energetic boundaries. And masculine's getting that too to a certain extent, which is why I see so much of the masculine energy being very energetically protective around feminine at this time. That is where we find all of the energy for today's daily collective read. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, gracestrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember, I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. Also, a couple of updates before we move into private personal readings for today. Did you know we've got tarot class? And it is going to be next Thursday at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Lover's card. I'm very excited to teach this card. I teach this card a little different than everyone else, because I base the astrology starting in January. So for me, the Lover's card is the October card. It is the Libra season card. We're also starting the trines right now. So we're in the second archetypal cycle of the tarot. I'm super stoked to be able to teach you guys about it. If you missed any of our classes, no, you didn't, because if you become a paid subscriber to my TikTok, to my Substack, not only will that be your ticket into our class next Thursday, you will also have access to the full repository and course materials of our previous classes. It's about 6 hours worth of classwork right now, so you got your work cut out for you. You don't have to watch all of it before our next class. I'm going to be giving a recap, but it's there for when you're ready to review it. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything that we've learned thus far or are currently learning, or any questions you just might have about the tarot in general. I tend to like answering questions about the tarot. I'll also have access, if you become a founding member to my if you become a founding member to my Substack, Not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage going forward. One of the things I tried to do with these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader, as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. So, and also, if you are a subscriber here on TikTok, head over to our Discord channel. It's just for you, subscriber only Discord channel. In the section that is marked perks, you will find an additional coupon code so that you get an additional discount on purchasing those classes. Even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, please go follow me there, because that's where I post the full spread that you saw today. So if you want to see the photo of today's spread, it will be up there, as well as the podcast. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events and my live schedule. And on top of all of that, you'll also get to find out about my giveaways. We do a giveaway every month. We've pulled the winner for our September giveaway. I will be listing it over on my Substack this week. But the bright side is we are now in the process of having our October giveaway. So if you would like to enter to win a free private tarot reading with me, head over to the link tree in my bio. There's a 2-minute travel survey there. Filling out that travel survey will give you an entry into the giveaway. And if you want to increase your chances of winning, forward that survey to a friend, because when I pull the winner, I give a free reading not only to the person who won, but also to the person who referred them. So thank you if you've already entered, and I wish you the best of luck of winning this month. Finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are focused on whatever area of spiritual study or personal growth you are most invested in learning more about. I take a very limited number of students for these reasons, because those are customized per individual. Those can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series for 45-minute courses, bi-weekly or weekly as suits your schedule. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent tarot support, I'm very happy to be offering weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, one per week or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your own personal journey. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages. And we will do this again